I talked to head coach Todd Nelson this offseason, and he asked him who some of the vet leaders of this team were going to be this season, and immediately you came to mind. So talk about being considered a veteran leader, especially seeing as you were an alternate captain next year and kind of embracing that role again this year.
Yeah, well, I think that kind of comes with age for me. I've been around a long time, and I've always said the most important thing you can do in the locker room is just to kind of lead by example. And it's easy to say one thing, but if you're out there on the ice, doing it and leading the way that way, it's easier for the guys to follow. And we've got lots of guys in the room that have played in the league now for a couple of years and know what it's all about. So there's a handful of guys that are a bit older, but even the young guys can step up and lead by example and speak up in the room as well.
Is it good for a veteran of your age, as you mentioned, to come back, especially when you have a family, to be able to come back to the same city that you have maybe some chemistry with and know the area?
Sure. I mean, it just makes the adjustment period a lot easier, especially off the bat. There's a lot of guys coming back from last year, and we already know the systems, and we know what to expect out of our coaching staff and what they expect out of us. So to have a lot of guys back from last year is huge, and obviously for myself and my family, it's nice to be back again. We're comfortable in the city. We love it here, and want to keep playing as long as I can, and hopefully it's here.
It was a really young roster last year, but this year gets a little bit younger as well with a couple of good NHL players coming down here. Talk about maybe some of the lessons that you could teach them or what you can bring to some of the young talent coming from Edmonton.
Well, I mean, they're good players, so hopefully they can teach me a few things. They're young, but they're obviously very, very good players, and probably don't belong here. But the situation is what it is, and they're going to be here and for a little bit anyways, and work hard and make our team better. But like I said earlier, the best thing I can do is just work hard and practice and make sure my habits day to day are good ones, and hopefully that's what they see.
Last year, the Barons came into camp looking to build some chemistry, and they did really quickly and started getting on the winning path. Where is this team at this training camp comparatively to last year's training camp?
Well, I think we're a little bit ahead of where we were last year at this time, just for the fact that we've been together now for a couple of years. We had some success last year, and last year was kind of a bit unknown. We didn't know what was going to happen, but we got out of the gates pretty good. And this year we want to do the same thing. We're a pretty good team on paper. A lot of teams are going to be coming for us, and they're going to try and measure up against us. So we're going to have to be ready every night and get off to that same good start that we did last year.
I know it's a long season, and start with you guys did pretty good in the playoffs, going into the playoffs, and coming in first in the conference. But what are you guys going to have to change this year that started this previous year?
I don't think we need to change a whole lot. Our regular season was pretty good. We ended up first in our conference. We got to stay injury free. That's a huge thing. We need some bounces along the way, but I think a lot of the footprints were set last year on the success that we had, and we want to make sure we don't take a step back, especially in the regular season. We want to make sure we get, like I said earlier, getting off to a good start and continue that through. And obviously playoffs, once you get in, it's a different animal. It's it's a day-to-day thing. It's a grind, and like I just said, you need to be a little bit lucky and injury-free and things like that. But we've certainly got a lot of depth this year, and so if something does arise, I think we should be okay.
And then this league, you move up, you move down, and with Everly and all the guys from the Oilers coming down, what do you think you're going to teach them in this league, or do you think you need to do much of that at all?
It's a tough thing because they're obviously established NHL players, and there's not a lot that I can teach them, skill-wise, obviously on the ice. But it's a little bit different in the American League. It's a little bit more of a grind. The travel's a little bit harder. You're not flying first class everywhere or charters everywhere. So just to make sure that their off-ice habits are good and they're getting the rest that they need. Just because there are stretches where we'll play 5 games in 7 or 8 nights, or we'll play 3 and 3, and that's probably something they haven't seen before. So just try and get them ready for stretches like that.
And what are your goals, improvements for this season?
I don't really set individual goals. I want to have a strong season. I'd like to improve on some of the numbers that I had last year. But as far as setting exact numbers, I don't like to try and put limits on myself. I like to kind of set more team goals. Obviously we want to go further than we did last year, and I'd like to be a part of it.